Is it warocracy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face.
They don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell
On
with it.
Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have the right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
And thank you so very much for staying there on Core Digest. Like I said before I took that short break, earlier we looked at debtors lists and denial who gift. That was looking at the legal aspect to the issues coming up now, especially as money is concerned. And now we're looking at the economic angle to this issue, and that's why we're discussing the topic Apex Bank Policy Implication on the Economy. And discussing this issue with me on this segment is an economist. His name is Ayo Teriba. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good to have you. Now, for you as an economist, what's your analysis of the current state of the Nigerian economy?
That's a broad one.
Okay.
Well, the country only successfully managed a major election and a change from one government to the other. In a period of change of government, you risk triggering increase in economic uncertainty. People know that some policies will change, a few things will be done differently. So it's very important that a new government tries as much as possible to lay its cards on the table as soon as possible. If you delay in doing that, policy uncertainty rises and market participants can take action out of panic that may not be in the interest of economic stability. So I do think that the lesson of the last 2.5 months under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari is that we need to provide economic policy guidance as soon as possible.
Okay.
The more we delay in providing the guidance, the more the markets, investors will fill in the gaps, and that's not likely to be in the interest of economic stability.
All right. Now, we see the Apex Bank trying to ensure that the dollarization of the Nigerian economy is nipped in the bud. What can you say about the approach in which they're taking to ensure that this challenge is solved? And of course, what's the fate of the Naira at this time?
Right. Again, movement in the Naira reflects the fact that the market, the business confidence in the market has fallen. Policy uncertainty erodes business confidence. So I do think we managed to create some uncertainty about economic policy since the inauguration of the new regime. And up till now, it's unclear what the economic policy directions will be. Some people mention the fact that there is no economic management team. I don't think it's about economic management team, because economic management teams don't formulate policies, they execute policies. So I do think that the government, at the highest level, at the level of the presidency, at the level of the parliament, need to put some clear indications of what the policy directions will be on the table. Now, as long as you do not do that, wealth holders will panic, will fear what's going to happen to the wealth denominated in the Naira. And as they fear, as they panic, they are likely to try to move out of the Naira, which is what we've seen. I don't think that the central bank is correctly interpreting what's happening. The central bank gives the impression that it thinks that this is about import. It's telling people what not to import. Don't import toothpicks, don't import rice, don't import this. I don't think it's about toothpicks. I don't think it's that suddenly in the month of June or month of July, Nigerians suddenly developed appetite for imports that they didn't have before. It's not imports. The balance of the main account has a current account where trading takes place. It has a capital account where money movements take place. This is money being demanded for its sale, not to import toothpick. If somebody says, I want to buy foreign exchange, and you give the person a form to fill, say, what do you want to use it to import? It's not importing anything. It just wants to get out of the naira into a hard currency for fear about whether the naira is going to be stable or unstable. And if you diagnosed the problem correctly, that this is about confidence, your response will be different. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is to speak to it, to say enough as to restore market confidence.
Okay.
But the way the central bank is going about it, prohibiting, telling people to stop importing, telling people to start producing, even if you wanted to start producing, is that going to happen this week, or is that going to happen this month, for that matter, this year? So we need to recognize the problem for what it is. It's not for the central bank to tell people what to do. It's the central bank to speak to the root cause of the uncertainty, of the instability. And clarity about economic policy direction, clarity about fiscal policy direction will help even more than whatever the central bank can see. The central bank itself needs some fiscal guidance before they can pitch their monetary policy.
Now, there's been mixed reaction as to what the central bank is doing, because recently, I think last week, a bank reported that they took some dollars to the central bank and they refused to swap it to naira. And in turn, we see these local banks saying they're not receiving dollars because they also have dollars stashed in their own account. So with this Apex Bank's reaction and what local banks are doing and not accepting dollars into their accounts, what would be its far-reaching effects on the economy?
Yeah, when you manage an unstable economic situation, you want to adopt measures that can be sustained.
That can or can't?
That can be sustained. Okay. You want stability.
Yeah.
You want the system to revert to equilibrium. And equilibrium is a state of rest. Only equilibrium can persist. If you are in disequilibrium, is a state of unrest, you will still gravitate towards equilibrium. You cannot live in it. This is 2015, for goodness sake. You cannot live in a world of refusing to do transactions that are legitimate, that people want. By exchange transaction, well, the foreign exchange thing is an exchange. You are parting with one currency in exchange for another currency. So you cannot sustain a policy of refusing to do business, or prohibiting what business people can do. So you need to look for sustainable ways of managing the crisis rather than create additional scare. Because, hey, it's about the stability of the naira at the end of the day is more about people having confidence to bring their money here than about trading. Now, some people are already scared they are heading for the market. The kind of policies that the central bank seems to be adopting might even scare people who are not yet scared. Because you don't want a situation where people become so fearful that you still pay for what you are doing now, the consequences of the prohibitions you are doing now. You can pay for it 1 year or 2 years down the road. So you want to make Nigeria an environment that will attract and retain investment. And a prohibitive environment will not attract and will not retain investment. As you try to prohibit people from, taking, small amounts of foreign exchange, people who can decide to bring large amounts of foreign exchange will be scared they won't bring it. People who do still have large amounts of foreign exchange here we decide to take it out. So we need to speak to the root causes of the problem rather than just implement cosmetic,
All right. To be a part of the show, simply dial the numbers showing on your screen. If you have questions to ask the economist on the show or contributions you want to make as we look at the Apex Bank policy implication on the economy. And the guest on the show is Ayo Teriba, who is an economist. Now, to you, Ayo Teriba, what is the economic advantage to publishing the lists of debtors in the dailies quarterly, according to the directive given by the Apex Bank, in a bid to get the money they owe you? How economic advantageous is such approach?
Well, I don't know what you mean by economic advantageous. This is a measure that the Apex Bank has encouraged the banks to adopt, to advertise the list of bad debtors, all the debts, debts that have been, the central bank and the banks, or what maybe called the bankers committee, in their wisdom, has felt that large debts that had become dormant,
non-performing.
Perhaps if they make publicity out of it, some of the quote-unquote difficult
debtors
will, because to avoid the shame, would they cooperate. Well, it's up to the banks to come and let us know how effective that is. What the short-term benefits of that is, and if there are any negative consequences,
Okay.
Both in the short term and
all right. Now, you talked about the recent policy not being very sustainable. So if you were to advise, what would be a sustainable measure to be taken by the Apex Bank?
Now, policy about the Naira is not just about the central bank. Because you keep saying Apex Bank, Apex Bank. Apex Bank is an agency of the Nigerian government.
That directs.
The sovereign, we are talking about the presidency and the parliament.
We have a caller now. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Solomon calling back from Abuja.
Okay, Solomon from Abuja. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I want to say something. There's one funny thing about Nigeria. I agree. Sometimes most of the people we are appointed in various positions, and I don't really. I think it has become a norm in this country. That once the new government comes in, everybody is trying to do one thing or the other to influence the government in power. This is a major Nigeria. Now, sometimes policies are very came into the country, or some policies are made non-consistent implications, so to say. Now, I want to say that in the first instance, the first two gentlemen that they together.
Yeah.
The other man, I think, Lagos Oshun, I want to say, I really respect him a lot, and I appreciate all his contribution and all the analysis he made. That's very good. And also coming to what is going on, coming to the man of the TV, I also acknowledge and appreciate him too. But I want to say one thing outright too. Now, every policy, then you have to ask yourself or ask himself, who are the beneficiaries of this policy? We need to be beneficiaries to the common Nigerian. Going to putting into consideration that this is the consumer nation, this is a country where nothing is produced, virtually nothing is produced. We need to keep peak and being important. Now, the matter is the policy that definitely virtually 90% of what you consume are imported. How is it going to look like? I'm a businessman, I know what I'm talking about. Prices of goods have shot up high because dollars are no longer, it's no longer able to transact business with dollars. And I can tell you the people that are shooting that is common man on the street. But these men who travel out of this country, they can buy whatever they want to buy with their money. Some of them have their foreign accounts, their money already attached outside the country. The people that will be at the receiving end are the common Nigerian on the street. This policy for God's sake, whoever is trying to influence the life to retain the position, or whoever is trying to do one thing or the other to show that they are part of the crusaders or possibly part of their policy for change, should not working, or the foreign companies in this country that are not working, should be mobilized to go back to site. So that people that have worked there, they can go back. Construction works are not going on. That is the more reason why I want any question. We are the president should hit the ground running, but should not go to sleep. Let him hit the ground running, not by including a policy that will add more policy to come on Nigeria. That is what we are asking.
All right. Thank you very much, Solomon, for calling. Okay. You want to quickly react to what Solomon said?
Oh, well, Solomon, well, a few of the points I agree with. But some of the facts of what he has said are not quite right. We are not, says we are a consumer nation. I don't think so. Says we import 90% of what we need. I don't think so. Imports in the Nigerian economy is, the Nigerian economy as of 2014 was 89 trillion. Import was just 10 trillion. So we shouldn't exaggerate this thing of imports. And if he is not happy that toothpick is being imported, will he produce toothpick in Nigeria, considering the situation with power supply, considering transport costs? Okay? So we should talk realistically. We shouldn't just say, yeah, go and produce toothpick. Why do you, who is saying that people should produce toothpick locally? Why don't you produce it? If you get to your home, you're prohibiting importation of toothpick. Do you have locally produced toothpick? What's not realistic is not realistic.
But don't you think the government should see in this line and make these structures available, infrastructure, like he said?
It's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Nigeria produces about 90 trillion worth of goods annually. The weakest link is manufacturing. And in a country where rail transportation has collapsed, if you don't fix rail transportation, manufacturing will not revive. Even agriculture is not going to be competitive until you fix rail transportation. The colonial regime saw through that a century ago. It's why we cannot deal with that. So as long as you have to truck cargo, forget about manufacturing competition. Don't ask anybody to make toothpicks. It does not make sense. Okay? Don't ask anybody to start manufacturing things locally and not import. It's going to be cheaper to import. If you want to see increased manufacturing or you want to see increased agriculture output in Nigeria today, fix rail transport, fix energy supply.
Okay.
Let there be power, let there be fuel in the stations at home.
All right. Let's just pick this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from. From Lagos. Your name, please. Enyema. Enyema from Lagos. Go ahead. Enyemechi. Okay. Go ahead. I can hear you. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
For my own view,
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
I said from my own view, for what is going on in our country today, so we don't have a factory that can produce a goods. Meanwhile, in that way, from my own view, it will help our own youth. Whereby this is a national company where people produce different kind of materials and all that. I think in that way, we will reduce all those cargo of the sea, and we will have more producing items on our own. Majority, or I may say, 100% of what is being produced here in Nigeria is not owned for any Nigerian person.
Okay.
It's a foreign investment.
All right.
And meanwhile, if those people should go out of Nigeria, that means we are totally naked of all of everything.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very
So
much.
now, just finish. Not even a master or a ruler, we cannot even be proud of it. So we should better put those things down, increasing, putting rules on a bank that this one is not import. Telling people what to do. Meanwhile, you did not even create what we can lay our hands on in our own country to make a living.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for calling. Yeah.
Right, I mean, the question you had asked before,
Yes, sustainable
before
policy.
Solomon
called, yeah.
was the sustainable approach, to managing the economy. Economic and business decisions are forward-looking issues. You don't take decisions based on what's happening now, based on what's happening yesterday. You take decisions based on what you expect to happen. So government needs to lead the way in making clear its own policy direction, broad economic policy directions, broad fiscal directions, then what structural policies or sectoral policy reforms to expect. We've said a lot about subsidy, but what's government's stake? What does the government want to do? The earlier you put that on the table, the better. We've said things about infrastructure. So what's government going to do? What are going to be the investment opportunities for infrastructure? The earlier government state is, the sooner people can take position and begin to, bring the money in to play a greater role. We've said a lot about the fiscal situation. Yes, thank God we've resolved the state's crisis, inability to pay salaries. Thank God we've announced there's going to be a single treasury account. But the good news are coming, weeks apart. The earlier you give us a clear program, let's see all the news that are likely to come at once, the better for the formation of expectations. Then the business confidence is likely to rise, and people will not panic to take their money out of the naira into foreign currency. So you need to address that underlying fear that, look, if you have your investment in naira, it's going to be safe. You have to speak to people's fear about the likelihood of devaluation. If people fear that there is going to be devaluation, they want to get out of the naira. If you try to prohibit them, you can't. Right. Eventually, they're still going to get the forex and they're going to get out. So encourage them, let them be assured that it's safe to keep their wealth in the naira. And nobody's going to go and disturb the central bank. So much more than the central bank, you need to, reduce the level of economic uncertainty, reduce the level of fiscal uncertainty, and I think the central bank will have an easier life.
All right. Very briefly, please, as we round off, how much confidence do you have in this administration in making the economy better than it used to be?
Well, I have a great level of confidence in the current administration. I believe that the level of dishonesty in the previous regime, that the previous regime elevated personal interests above national interests. I do have full confidence that this regime is going to protect the national interest against personal interest. Okay. What we are saying is that what you eventually do in the context of trying to stabilize the financial markets is not as important as what you state in advance that you want to do. Because by the time you do the good things, it's not about your own actions. It's about sending positive signals to coordinate market actions. Nobody's going to wait for the good that you are going to do 3 months, 6 months' time. If already the exchange rate has gone haywire today, if the stock market has contracted as, they are currently showing signs of doing. So good actions, I believe, will come. But articulate your policy as soon as possible. That's what I do. So I believe that the regime is going to be, far better than we've seen in the past.
All right. Thank you so very much, Ayoteriba, for being on the show. It was really nice having you.
Thanks.
And this is where we call it a day on Cold Digest. We discussed 2 different segments today. We looked at the legal angle to the recent policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria and also the economic implication. Thank you so very much for being part all through the program, and we apologize if we couldn't pick your call, but you could still send in your comments and contributions to our social media portals, our Facebook, our Twitter account, and you could also view this program on our YouTube channel. It's been a wonderful time with you on Cold Digest. Do well to join us tomorrow for something fresh and very exciting. My name is Omotayo Alo. Have a beautiful rest of the week.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website
www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.